Welcome back to another demo of Query Studio. This demo is going to be a demonstration of the import function, which, there's obviously Salesforce standard tool that you can use. It's not a problem. That works well. But I wanted to make Query Studio more of a sort of place where you do a lot of work querying, searching, importing data, exporting data, running anonymous Apex, comparing objects and things like that. So it's a one place sort of studio that you perform your day-to-day tasks. So what we're going to do is take a look at this org. I'm in the query at the moment. I'm just gonna like query the account object, and you can see here I've got this sample account for entitlements record, and I'm going to change the name on this. And what I've already done here is I've exported this result set as a CSV, and I've changed that particular record and change the name to Innovera, and we can see that. So if I go into the import tab, as with the query, you can select the connection you're targeting, your import, the object you're interested in importing to, you just type or start typing and it'll filter the results to the object you're interested in. Select your CSV file. As I said, I've got one that's already pre-made. And you get a nice sort of preview of the data that's in that CSV. You can see here, I've got the name Innovera Limited is there instead of that other account name. And on the right-hand side here, you can see that there's a sort of mapping of fields, and this automatically attempts a mapping. It's pretty accurate right now because, as I said, that export came from an org. So the field names in the CSV file match exactly the field names in the Salesforce object. So that's great. And we don't need to necessarily map all these fields. We could just clear down the mapping. I want the ID mapped, obviously, because I'm going to do an upsert up here. If you were to use a different ID as your external ID, you want to upsert on a different, external ID, you can do that. And I'm just going to map the name in this particular case, keep it simple. So what we've got is ID here, name here, and we could save that if we want to. This is it's a new mapping, so we can do a save as. If this is something you do, it's quite common. You always want to upsert on that one field, or the maybe 2 or 3 fields. You could save your mapping so that you can just keep repeating it if it's a daily, weekly, monthly activity, or just something regular. Maybe you're seeding sandboxes for testing, etc. That could be a way to do that. But in this case, I won't bother saving it, but it's similar. You group them, associate this mapping with a Salesforce connection. And you can obviously load a mapping. I've got one here, it's already saved before. You can move it to a different connection, rename it and delete it if that's what you want to do. But this one, we're not going to bother saving, we'll just run it. And you can see it just kicks it off. Down the bottom, you can sort of see a progress. It probably will whiz through pretty quickly. It's not much to it. And you're going to tick in the box in each of those in that path there. And it says it's processed 13 records and the job's complete. On the right-hand side, you've got your sort of standard outcomes, if you like, so success, failed, and unprocessed records, and you can download those, the arrows there, if you want to download the success or the failed, if you want to, look at troubleshoot what went wrong, and it shows basically what would be downloaded from that response from Salesforce that it did the job. So let's take a look at the query then. So before it was sample account. If we just rerun that query, you can now see it's now Innovera Limited. So that's it. That's the import functionality. It's pretty straightforward, but also I think covers all the functionality you'll need to sort of put data or take data using the query tool out of an org and using the import tool, putting it into a different org or different sandbox.